We're looking live right now in beautiful Savannah, Georgia. And of course, they have those gorgeous riverboats there right on what's called the Savannah River that you can see. 72 degrees right now. But here's the problem, though, is that we have another area that we're watching. This one forming very close to where Dexter just formed at the 11 o'clock advisory from the National Hurricane Center last night. So this is the area that we're going to watch, and we're going to do a quick little deep dive into. Craig's going to be talking about this one that could become something real interesting here real quickly. But before we get there, that area to watch just off the southeast coast of the United States, you can see what is going to happen. It's right along that stationary boundary right here, kind of like Dexter, forming off that stationary boundary. Another area of low pressure begins to form by mid this upcoming week. It kind of works toward the west a little bit. It gets into that, again, perhaps another little Goldilocks zone where there's just enough moisture, and you can see that moisture, that ribbon of green on your screen. And that then could become our next system.
Yeah, and it's a concern because this area has already received widespread 1 to 3 inches of rain, a couple of spots up to 5. You add another 2 to 5 inches of rain, that's going to be a concern for more flooding. As far as development, 30% chance in the next 7 days, regardless, as we often tell you here at Fox Weather, with every single system, it's about the impacts. And in this case, it's going to be the flooding rains. A lot of warm water to work with, Michael, and I'll tell you what, with the not only the warmer waters, but in the atmosphere as well, lots of moisture to squeeze out, it'll be a concern. And whenever you get the breaks, it's a good time to make sure you clean the gutters out. Do what you can to just make sure your yard is ready, the storm drains are ready, because with this much rain, and we still have months to go with the hurricane season. Another system comes through, it could just keep adding up and adding up.
Yeah, you know, Fox Weather's Brandy Campbell was actually live for us in Savannah all weekend long, and she was sending in photos and her reports of just monster flooding in Savannah this weekend. So now by midweek, we have another system that we're tracking. This could really add insult to injury if it does end up bringing in more water into places like Savannah, Tybee Island, Brunswick, Georgia as well. And again, this is not uncommon, Craig, for this time of the year. You look at all of the storms that we've seen in the month of August since 1950, and again, you can see a couple little clusters real close to the coastline.
Yeah, and of course, you don't have a lot of time to prepare, so it's not. You don't want to wait for this to get a name. You just want to prepare for the flooding. When we look at the Atlantic named storms, Errant is next, and you know Dexter coming on about maybe like a week earlier than we typically see. But, you know, it's still, once we start going, we get going.
We sure do, and of course we'll watch this one very carefully.
Let's talk about the other one you mentioned there, Michael, this large area that we're watching possible development over the next 7 days as well. Look at this. We are lit up out there, and we've got a number of areas to watch, the Eastern Pacific and the Atlantic as well. Sea surface temperatures are going up. We're going into the time of year when things really get active for us. So let's get started with what we have been watching closely. 50% chance of development in the next 7 days as we watch another wave come off the coast of Africa. Now, having said that, we have been dealing with a lot in the way of the wind and also the dust. The dust is still there, Michael, but there's a little more moisture to work with, and the water's down on the surface. Below those waters, they're deeper, and they're getting warmer as well. So a lot does work in its favor. And you and I were talking about this earlier. Boy, some computer models have this nice, tight, compact system. It's still early to tell, but nonetheless, we want to watch because a lot of this in the line would be the Caribbean islands first.
Yeah, that's exactly it. This would kind of flow right along what we call the main development region. You're looking at two of our more traditional models. This is the GFS and, of course, what we call the Euro or the ECMWF. And look at those clusters. All those little L's that are in the lighter red indicate where there's different pinpoints on where they're expecting to see, you know, where that area of low pressure could be. The darker of the red is the GFS. And all of that kind of flowing generally from east toward the west.
Yeah, and then we look, so here's your date up here on the upper left-hand corner, August 4th, big Bermuda high. Do we start to see a bit of a split in this kind of the weekends? And if it does so, then instead of having one big bubble that would redirect those storms in basically the same general direction, you kind of open the playing field here for a few options on what if something develops, whatever happens here, as far as where it could go. Now we're looking out to the 10th, right? And we talk about some weakness in the steering patterns. That's also a concern, too, because if it sits out there a little bit longer and there's not much in the way of steering patterns, then it has a little more time to work. So there's a lot that we got to watch with this.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And this, as you mentioned before, some of our forecast models actually showing this strengthening significantly. So could this become Aaron, which is our next named storm after Dexter on the list? It surely could. But it's not just that. No. When you look further into the future, now we're looking, mid-August here, the 10th. There's multiple waves.
Yeah.
Multiple
waves, and they keep coming off like we expect. But like we said, now we're starting to lose the dust. Yeah. So that will play into it. The waters are getting, warmer, if you will, especially in the main development region. But of course, we look to the Caribbean and close to home as well, because the sea surface temperatures are well above average.